entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Mr. President, is it in your interest? Is it easier? Is that a better opponent for you than anybody else, Joe Biden? Is it? I'll give you a quote from David Axelrod. He said, Trump's not talking anything about Biden's bad debate. He's not running blitzing campaign ads about the bad debate. Lara Trump last week said that it would be an affront to democracy if Biden were not the nominee. Why is he doing that? His conclusion is that you want Biden to be your opponent. Is that the right conclusion?
No, I don't care if it's him or somebody else. It's also policy. It's more about policy than anything else. And these radical Democrats are all radical. Everyone that they're talking about is a radical left lunatic. And whether it's Biden or whether it's somebody else, I think it's the same. They want open borders. They want all the things we just discussed and much more. No more gasoline-powered cars. They want you to go all electric, which don't go far, and made in China, very expensive. They want, as an example, I say it, it's almost embarrassing to have to even say it, that they want men playing in women's sports. And I want the opposite. So, it's...
so his policy's not the person.
Almost an opposite philosophy. It's actually, Brian, an opposite philosophy. What's good and true and right, they almost want in all cases, they want the opposite. The Green New Scam is costing us trillions of dollars. It's ridiculous. They're wasting money.
Right.
And they've caused tremendous inflation. And we're going to stop all that.
Well, that was a great cut. That was a great cut right there. The question is, do you believe him when Donald Trump says, I don't care who I base? Of course, that was Trump with my guy yesterday, Brian Kilmeade. Brian follows me 10 a.m. every morning right here on 77 WABC, part of that great Fox and Friends crew, Fox News, every weekday morning at his own great show. He invited me last week. I was at Naomi's house upstate, which comes your way after my buddy Mark Levin, 9 p.m. Saturday nights on Fox News, One Nation. Here he is, Brian Kilmeade. So I just played the cut there, Brian, of you and Trump yesterday, another great interview you did with Donald Trump. And he said he doesn't care who he faces if Joe Biden drops out. I'm here to tell you I don't believe him. I think he would much rather face Joe Biden than, say, Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. But I also think that he does believe it's the policies that the problem. And I think you believe that, too. I mean, Kamala Harris would be worse. And the worst thing about her is one guy can't study. The other woman, the vice president, chooses not to. She never gets briefed on anything. Never, as far as we know, she has nothing on her. You look back at her schedule, it's an embarrassment. Even for vice presidents, it famously, when we were growing up, didn't do much. Now they're really counted on in almost every administration, including when Joe Biden was working for Barack Obama. He gave him a lot to do. And to Joe Biden's credit, whether you like him or not, he was flying around the country. He had the border. He had Ukraine screwing up, I know, with Hunter, and that's all true. But at least he was doing stuff. She doesn't do anything. She got an assignment, didn't want to do it, doesn't do it. Now she loves talking about abortion. Abortion's the best thing ever. She loves going to abortion clinics. She is so over the top, she doesn't even realize what she's saying. And then she's in charge of AI. Do you know that any progress they're making on AI? And do you know who also is in charge of AI? Do you know that Barack Obama was asked to take that portfolio too? So Joe Biden doesn't even trust her with that. So she could take over. She'll be better on the stump. She can give a speech. She can read the prompter. I'm not saying she's not dumb. I'm not saying she's dumb, rather. I'm not saying she's not experienced.
Well, I'll say it. No,
but
she's dumb.
Everything is unacceptable.
Yeah, she's dumb. I'm going to say it. She is absolutely stupid. And look, I get it. Black, female. That's why people are afraid to say she's stupid, but she is. She's dumb. And, but again, she does pose that threat because of the two things I just said, black and female. You know, the thing I did notice about your conversation, Brian, with Trump yesterday was he was really relaxed. Now, I know Biden's campaign is falling apart and Trump is gaining in just about every state, including New York, so I understand why he was. But you got the same impression, yes?
Yeah, and I watched his appearance at Doral, and it went about an hour and a half. And he was funny. And he was just having a good time. Now, think about it. We always say this. The pressure he's under, I don't care what you think these cases are. When you got to be in prison, when you got to be in court, and you know the result could be prison, And you got to sit there every single day. Obviously, remember he said it was freezing. And then he's got these three other court cases, which he got fingerprinted on, got the mugshot in Atlanta. And then you go home and you got to, of course, with the New York trial, the tension probably at home because of all the circumstances with Stormy Daniels' claims. That doesn't make anything pleasant when you walk in the house. And then, you had the battle for your nomination. You had a lot of people like Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie saying negative things about you in your own party. Can you imagine the he must have felt? And now he's beating back the court cases. The verdict, the 34 counts could be overturned as they look at what the ramifications of the Supreme Court ruling is. And then you have him running away. You have him winning in almost every battleground state over the course of the last 2 months. And then you have Joe Biden in free fall and destroy him in a debate. If anyone deserves a break, it's Trump. And that happiness is paying off. Also, on another note, my opinion, I think he loves hanging out with Barron. Barron is turning into like a kid that loves politics. They love golfing together. I think he's reinvigorated with him. And I think he likes being around, and I think he loves the attention that they're now going to get with the vice president's election. So he's on a roll, but he also knows how quickly he can switch. Like right now, they're trying to label him behind a radical doctrine on Project 2025, 900 pages that they think he wrote in longhand. So they're trying to do their own Russia thing on him with 2025. That's not going to fly.
Yeah, you mentioned Project 2025. It's been in the news, but I have to tell you, Brian, even my smartest listener right now has no idea what you're talking about. I'm serious. They've read about it. They've heard about it.
I know.
What exactly is Project 2025?
Well, what happened is I like the guys at Heritage. I spoke there the other day, and anyone who's smart enough to ask me to speak, I think is a great think tank. I've never really been invited to be in a think tank, but they asked me to. I went to the Smithsonian and spoke right in front of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the original one signed. It's pretty amazing. And I spoke there, got a chance to meet them. Really bright guys. And by the way, they'll come on with you. Kevin Roberts is unbelievable, extremely bright, conversational, comfortable. But they put together a 900-page doctrine of what they would love to see within the next Republican administration. They wrote it before Trump even got the nomination. And, some guys like McAtee was a key aide to Trump, and Tom Homan contributed to the immigration part. And there was some other Trumpers that were in there and helped. But they just talked about a way forward. There's some things in there I don't fly with America today. They talk about traditional marriage. They talk about being against IVF. The border is right in sync with what the president's saying, but certain other things aren't. So Trump's saying, hey, listen, nice doctrine. I'm not going to read it. I like some people that worked on it, but that's not my plan. You want my plan? Look at the platform for the RNC. They don't want to do that. And that's what Joe Biden's doing, putting out videos and everything. 2025 is scary. They're going to make this country a autocracy. You know what it is? A conservative doctrine, 900 pages in detail. You know what else they did? They interviewed thousands of people for every job in Washington. And they want Trump to be able, or anybody, but in this case it's Trump, to be able to hit the ground running and get out every Biden person right away. They also talked about looking at Homeland Security and saying it's way too big and there's way too many do-nothing jobs. They talked about getting rid of the Department of Education. This is all stuff that we have to do. We have to shrink government. We can't afford this government. So there's nothing radical about it. It's just extremely conservative. Worth the read. It's a think tank. It's a think tank. Smart people get together and come up with plans. And then you use that if you like it. This is not a new concept. It's really how Washington works.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's Priority PriorityGoldGuide.com.
All right, so there you go. That is the end of the controversy right there. Brian Kilmeade.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You owe me a favor.
Of course.
Yeah.
Brian, coming up next, Fox and Friends and One Nation. Two more I'll let you run. You know, you mentioned earlier all the stress and really pressure Donald Trump faced here in New York when he was on trial. But, you know, you look at it, and I had this conversation with your colleague Todd Pyro. I was on his show yesterday. He was filling on Fox News Radio in the afternoon. And I said, look, he certainly made the best of that situation. Right, Brian? Meeting with the construction workers, meeting up in East Harlem with the bodega workers, the 100,000 large in Wildwood, New Jersey. And now all of a sudden Trump has a chance to maybe win New York, maybe at the very least. The down ballot, that ticket looks very good for New Yorkers. Now, I am going to say that I am a major, major reason for that because there's been no other host in this city or maybe any city over the last 18 months that has been pumping up Donald Trump like me. But on a serious note, all of a sudden, New York, even Jersey, Brian, he's 1 point back in blue New Jersey. All of a sudden, there is no state in this country that Donald Trump can't compete.
Okay, a couple of things. No one can overstate your importance in this world, let alone New York City. So the impact you've already had on Earth, it goes beyond the pale. So, I mean, we owe you, the planet owes you, Sid.
Thank you very
we
much.
owe you I'm not even saying America owes you. The whole planet owes you. Everything from Tibet to Portugal.
Yes, thank you.
But a couple of things. Number one, I do think he's going to close the gap here, but most importantly, he's going to deliver some House seats or keep them Republican because the policies are so horrendous in the city. And they're so left-wing in New York City that people are even Mayor Adams can't deal with them. And now when these people are getting out, you see a lot of him just shrugging his shoulders. I can't control this. I can't change this. Governor Hochul's having problems with it, and I'm no fan of either one of them. But they're so radical, they're making people revisit Republicans, and the Republicans are doing something they haven't done in a while. They're trying to compete. They're trying to compete in cities across the country. I wish more would compete here. And the other thing to keep in mind is that Trump's earning his way in New York, despite all the obstacles, because New Yorkers are discerning. They know 2 civil trials, they know a criminal trial, and they know that they used to worship Trump. And now all of a sudden these people are trying to bankrupt Trump and they see no substance there. And they're not listening to the press who say that we're cracking down on a criminal. They know that Trump's not a criminal. They know that he does business in real estate. They know that that civil trial should have concerned every rich and working class person in New York City because it shows the power of this government. And you have people like Kevin O'Leary saying, look, I know people that are afraid to get involved in New York banks because of what happened. And there's a lot of people, rich and not rich, that are revisiting him. Think about this. Silicon Valley is thinking about Trump again. And Wall Street, that was walking away from Trump, is now coming back and saying, listen, we need some policies that are going to work, especially as it relates to energy. Those people live in New York City. They have families in New York City. So they might be able to deliver something. Here's the best thing. The best thing is if you have a running game, it makes them and a passing game, it makes defenses play you honestly. He is now in play in Virginia, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and dare I say New York. And I didn't know that poll about New Jersey. At the very least, Joe Biden, whose donor base is drying up, now has to spend there. So if you have to worry about the running game, it opens up the passing game.
Love it.
So now, good luck but he's got more of a shot in battleground states because he's making him spend in blue states. Is that an analysis that you would usually expect to pay for, Sid?
No, that was tremendous. I mean, that was somehow you just in 30 seconds became Sean Hannity and Phil Simms at the same time.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was possible. Right. Although Phil Simms is looking for a job right now. I hope that doesn't happen to me.
I know he is. No, you're going to be just fine. You're brilliant. That's what you heard just moments ago. So on the way out, Brian, about 2 minutes to go. Yesterday, you had the Illinois governor, Pritzker. He now has turned his back on Biden. We know that the Hollywood world, like George Clooney, he's turned his back on Biden. Every day there's another name. Bill O'Reilly is coming up next, right after you, and he is 1,000% sure, 1,000% sure that Joe Biden will step down. I got to see it. I know that it's up to Jill Biden, not Barack Obama, not George Clooney. It's up to Jill Biden. I haven't seen Jill Biden at this point start to sway. Your thoughts? Does Joe Biden step down or not?
Only if they have to use every leverage point possible, every pressure point available. He does not want to go. And he's not cognitively even aware that he's slipping. And Jill wants it more than he does. And I think that he is holding on. I mean, he stared down Nancy Pelosi all yesterday. She laid it out. She's like, let him know what you're going to do. She goes, I know. I'm telling you right now what I'm going to do. I'm staying. He goes, oh, no, let me know. No, I'm staying. So he's staring him down. They tried to stop the George Clooney editorial. They called him up and they said, please don't publish this. Now they're having a Lester Holt interview on Monday night. On tonight at 5:30. You're going to see 5:30 Eastern time. You're going to see him do a press conference for an hour. So and then he's got a bunch of NATO things to do. All opportunities to slip up. Sid, we're going to watch this, and this is going to be odd. Every Republican wants him to do well, and every Democrat is hoping he trips over a sandbag while mumbling to himself. So he has to go. Yep. So game on. If he pulls off these two interviews, the presser and Lester Holt, I don't think he's catapulted out.
I agree with you. There it is, the great Brian Kilmeade. When are you going to Milwaukee?
Sunday night. I was going to vacation there anyway. I just altered my plans a little. I mean, that's where everybody goes.
Oh, it is lovely this time of year, no question about it.
Right. So much better than Aruba.
Brian, that's a great job. I'll see you in Milwaukee next week. We'll all be watching One Nation on Saturday night.
Right, 9 o'clock. And do you remember the one piece of advice I have for you? The one line is?
It would be stay within yourself.
Right, and that's all I ask for you. Sid. Just promise me you'll do that when Bill's coming up next.
I promise. I'll say hello to Bill for you, and I'll see you in Wisconsin next week. Great, not good. Great conversation, Brian. Thank you so much.
Go get him, Sid. Thanks.
My man, Brian Kilmeade right there, folks. Fox and Friends, every weekday morning on Fox News, One Nation, 9 p.m. on Saturday nights. And most importantly, he follows me 10 a.m. every weekday right here on 77 WABC.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's PriorityGoldGuide.com.